Bob Lazar talked about how, extraterrestrials or anyone who's using a UFO can travel by bending space and time, right? I talked about it a lot here, right? Piece of paper that bends, the two ends meet of the piece of paper, and that's how you bend time. But in reality, it's a bit more complicated than bending a piece of paper. But Bob Lazarus talks about gravity waves, and he also confirms in a black and white video, or just to say color video, all squiggly or the articles like that. He says gravity is a wave. He knew that. Now, some of you will say, well, so what? We all know what gravity is a wave. No, we don't. It's been confirmed last year or a year and a half ago, last year, that they confirmed that gravity was a wave. Then I noticed Bob Lazar talking about subatomic particles, that inside of these UFOs, there's a hadron collider. So, inside of these UFOs, there are hadron colliders. Same thing, right? A reactor, nuclear reactor, radiation too. So could the UFOs be radioactive? Yeah. And it's not because necessarily that they want to poison people. It's the processing of the way the antimatter in there goes through the tube and transforms. At the bottom of the spacecraft, you have what everyone talks about, the amplifiers. What kind of amplifiers are there? They are gravity amplifiers. And those gravity amplifiers are using which gravity? Gravity A amplifiers. The gravity A, because, okay, it gets complicated. Over top is the reactor, right? The gravity amplifiers amplify using the nucleus of the atom from mixing with the other chemicals. So it's contained in a container in the center. Underneath the reactor, it goes down a tube, a very small tube, and that tube contains that element 115, because that's what they put inside of the reactor. So the reactor at 1740 degrees will burn the element 115, and then the element 115 in the UFO is going to burn itself very quickly, even faster than the element 115. But the element 116 is the outcome of the burning of the 115. It's even more reactive, burns even faster, and the 116 collides with the nucleus of the atom that's the gravity A. The perimeter extends out of the atom. And here on Earth, our gravity, gravity B, and the gravity that's holding up the solar system and all the stars and planets, we can't use that gravity and power to get outside of this universe or to bend space and time. So they bend the space and time by quite simply changing the frequency, right, of the wave, the gravity wave. So that's how, change it from antimatter inside of the craft. The antimatter is stored, and it can't be stored for long in a reactor. It'll blow up. Then it goes in another chamber that reacts to a gas. And at the same time, it's antimatter in the craft reacting to the gas that reacts to matter, because gas is matter, right? Physical matter and antimatter. The creation of the antimatter leaving the craft and clashing with the matter is a ginormous explosion, right? And the energy is transformed into space and time, right? Where they can bend it. They transform that space and time to be able to bend time at the right frequency where they want to go, and then they burn the 115. They burn the 115, and they're already there. Nothing left of the 115 already burned. But it makes energy. Or they're traveling, they're making the energy, right? And it's a photonic light. When antimatter reacts to matter, if I'm not mistaken, there's a photonic light. So if they're on idle, these UFOs, and you see a photonic light around it, that's what's happening. Imagine as stupid as sending down, it's a subatomic particle. Inside the reactor of the UFO, there's protons. The reactor's being bombarded with protons, right? And that's what causes antimatter to occur. then it goes down, it intermingles, and then whoosh, outside, and then poof, they are off. There's no element on Earth that will propel us to be able to drive at fast rates of speeds. On the periodic timetable, right, there's all the elements. Well, the first approximately, I think it's 94 elements, are elements that are naturally formed in life, you know. Anything over top of the first 94 elements are synthetic elements, they're synthesized. It's something produced for a heavier atomic number the more you go further in the periodic timetable. But the first ones are naturally formed. So when Bob Lazar was talking about element 115, it did not exist, but he explained it very well. He also talked about how the UFOs worked. And I'm telling you guys, it's the Hadron Collider at CERN. That's exactly what they're doing, creating antimatter. So in reality, if that CERN that we know of here on Earth was inside of a spacecraft, just that CERN would be the reactor. It would be one piece inside of the reactor in the UFO. So that will give you an idea of how far we are, right? Somebody was saying, Bruce, how would you feel if I told you 50 to 100 years ago we were already flying around? Well, probably, most likely. But the public doesn't know that information. Science isn't there from what they told the public because we don't have access. And no naturally occurring atoms on Earth have enough protons and neutrons, okay, inside of the atom to be able to extend that perimeter outwards. Like, we're stuck here. Like, they can't do nothing. You need a certain type of material to be able to make a spacecraft. Like, there's lots of things they have to do, guys. They have to form their own gravity around them. Like, how many types of gravity? Well, the gravity that's holding up the planets is not the same as the gravity A that they can go get that by amplifying it. Any frequency in the electromagnetic spectrum can be amplified. That's a scary thing. And why are they creating new elements all the time? You must wonder, you know, is it just really for, you know, research reasons, for medicine? No, it's not. It's all related to UFO research. And from what I'm understanding, all the big telescopes, NASA, the US defense, many other countries in the defense in other countries, the CERN, HARP, did I mention NASA? They're all working for UFO projects. They're all working for the shadow governments, I believe. And they're all doing secret projects. And listen, in the UFO briefing that we're going to hear people, their testimonies and witnesses, firsthand witnesses, by the way, that have had the experience of witnessing many UAP or UFO and or UFO sightings. Tim Burchett does not like calling them anything else but UFOs, which I sort of like him for that, because the government is the opposite. The governments, the Navy, Pentagon, DARPA, everyone and anyone that's related to the defense in the US does not use the term UFO, by the way. It's not a term they ever use. They use unidentified anomalous phenomena now from unidentified aerial phenomena, so that also interchanged. So did I mention, I think I cut off when the rain started before, artificial intelligent programs are right now, just were actually offered to the big news media stations, where the news is going to be able to be done through artificial intelligent programs. The artificial intelligent program will be analyzing the whole world. Do you understand? They're setting us up to be an automated planet. Like, I mean,
the area that Apollo 17 declared having landed, which they didn't, was already filled with structures, and the surface was already manipulated years before any of these astronauts were born. Everyone, thanks for the generous contributions, and thanks for watching the videos.
Aliens up there on the moon. They may be even coming right here soon. Aliens are mining on the moon. Yes, they are up there. Doesn't matter, cause disclosure's coming soon. Disclosure's coming soon.